I'm a little late on the Konami bashing wagon, but let me just say that I love Konami. Circa late 90s to early 2000s. No company was more willing to take big risks in believing its developers, completely reinventing the Metal Gear and Castlevania series, launching Dance Dance Revolution and Silent Hill, thoroughly untested products and ideas into a world with reckless abandon, and then making Goemon's Great Adventure. Why did no one play this game? It's so damn good! Mischief Makers ain't got nothing! Needless to say, it was a fun and enjoyable company before they decided to turn everything into a pachinko machine. However, we're faced with the sad reality that high production value gambling machines are far less labor intensive and far more profitable than AAA games. It's just, instead of going the Sega route where they still make pachinkos but release games anyway, Konami went full corporate and sold its old stars to the pachinko mines while punishing new ideas. And I guess Hideo Kojima is like the CM Punk of this metaphor or something. Anyway, it's an ugly scene. However, there's still some value to be had in these sensory-based machines. I know I've been overwhelmed by bright lights and impressive sounds at a casino before, and lost like $100 to a Popeye slot machine when I was up $50 just because I wanted to see the big bonus again. Adding something with the punch of the Castlevania series behind it, with traditionally excellent music and a captivating art style, is both a no-brainer and incredibly dangerous to the consumer. Of course, the product has to be good, and the Castlevania Pachislots games end up being more than merely good. They take the series to a whole new level in how celebratory and overly epic its music can be, which is the weirdest and most conflicting statement I feel like I've said. There are 3 Castlevania Pachislots games, so I'll be plucking a track from each one and seeing how high of a payoff their jackpots yield. Well known as the theme of one of the series' most prolific heroes, Richter Belmont, this version of Divine Bloodlines just adds so much to the song, it's hard not to be captivated. Of the original Castlevania titles, Dracula X tended to experiment the most with its sound offerings, and that shines through into Richter's theme. The rock guitar is rock solid, but the backing guitar gives the piece such an almost funk-like tone. The tonal confusion continues when a flute is added in for further contrast, and finally, synths dominating the piece. However, rather than ruin the track by failing to decide on a consistent tone, the backing instrument ends up unifying different sounds, feeling like a celebration of Castlevania's classic gothic tones, a hard rock remix, and an update for the new era of exciting Pachislots erotic violence! God, that was actually a selling point. Regardless, it's an exciting look into a remix theme sure to enrapture those playing who are fans of the series. However, what happens when the songs shy away from nostalgia and stand on their own 2 legs? A bit more chaos here in Capriccio of the Scarlet Moon, at least compared to the previous track. Latin chanting is always a very simple shorthand on how to make a track sound epic. Just ask half of Super Smash Bros. Brawl's soundtrack for that matter. However, what sets this apart is the very dance-like piano work in the background guiding the track. All of the piano notes seem to waver before going into complex breakdowns and minor variations. This strikes most strongly at about a minute in, feeling like a nice cap to the previous measure. A capriccio is noted as a lively freeform track, and is carried rather heavily on the song's tone and piano work, as well as the hard transition to an emphasis on guitar and drums down the bridge. Heavy and varied riffs add to the chaos of the track, before the tempo slows into a haunting dirge of vocals and light strings. The track is quick to assault the listener with what should be the final product as the melody gets a brief reprise. While this is strong, I feel as if the journey to reach this point is a bit scattered and to the track's detriment. However, it would only take one more try for Konami to absolutely nail an engrossing epic track. Now that your socks have been thoroughly rocked off, let me say, this is how you do epic choral rock. The closest comparison I can give to this track is the soundtrack of Bayonetta, or perhaps Asura's Wrath. Where those soundtracks failed to give an overly epic feel by creating walls of sound that just overwhelm the listener, Day of Luigi Vietti succeeds by focusing on four main tones: its guitar, its pianos, its drums, and its vocals. Only at the beginning and toward well-built crescendos does the song fire on all cylinders, instead allowing moments for each instrument to shine and play louder than the others. The audio mixing in the track is absolutely superb, the piano blending in and out, guitar work growing louder and softer depending on what needs the most prominence. Backing vocals are muffled and brought to the forefront as needed in order to escalate the track. Everything here is done absolutely masterfully in order to work to the benefit of the song. If this was what I was rewarded to if I hit a jackpot, the sheer overwhelming feeling that would come from hitting this kind of bonus would get me to pour way too much money into a machine just to get that feeling again. It's powerful, it's well constructed, it's addicting, it's a damn pachinko machine song. It got me to buy the soundtrack for this game. If that's not a ringing endorsement, I don't know what is. So, where does that leave us as Castlevania fans? In a world where Castlevania is trying to become a God of War title more often than not for its AAA offerings, it seems that the heart of the series has become dedicated to ripping the wallets out of the gambling-inclined fans of yesteryear. It's amazing how strongly Castlevania's soundtrack and rock gothic stylings can be so enduring and so distinctly belonging to it, no matter what it changes to. But is the shift hurting the series? Will it become a relic of the past just like the Ganbare Goemon series before it, living only in pachinko parlors and re-releases? One can certainly hope not. Sound design alone shows that Castlevania still has plenty in the tank, even when trying to simply appeal to addiction and sensory overload. So despite the horrendous practices of Konami, try to enjoy what we have. The hard work that's been put into titles meant only to be literal cash grabs by design, and hope for the future. We're already seeing a wonderful future right now with the Netflix series, which I do highly recommend to any fan of the series. It gives Richter Belmont actual character and makes him probably the most endearing protagonist the series has ever had. Amazing, all you have to do is turn a guy into Captain Jack Sparrow. It's a horrible night to have a curse, but eventually the morning sun will come. And showing what support where we can will bring composers like these along with it for the next true Castlevania project. Until then, and until next time, I'm Pyrrhickong, and I'll keep chipping away at some tunes.